Dr. Sujin sat in her research station office, her eyes glued to the screen. The blue light from her monitor reflected off her glasses as she watched yet another YouTube video. This was her 5th video of the day about spacecraft modifications, but she couldn't help herself. The title had caught her attention. 10 Amazing Space Station Hacks That Actually Work. Dr. Sujin. The station's AI announced, breaking her concentration. Captain Park requests your immediate presence in the command center. Sujin sighed and paused the video. Tell him I'll be there in 5 minutes. I just need to finish this. He says it's urgent. The AI interrupted. Something about an unknown spacecraft approaching the station. That got her attention. Sujin closed her browser and stood up, straightening her white lab coat. As Earth's leading xenobiologist on the Jupiter research station, any unknown contact was her business. She grabbed her tablet and hurried through the station's curved corridors. The command center was buzzing with activity when she arrived. Screens covered every wall, showing different angles of what looked like a sleek, silver vessel approaching their station. It was unlike anything Sujin had ever seen. No visible engines, no conventional propulsion system, just smooth lines that seemed to bend the light around them. Captain Jaiho Park stood in the center of the room, his hands clasped behind his back as he stared at the main screen. He turned when he heard Sujin enter. Doctor, what do you make of this? Sujin moved closer to the screen, adjusting her glasses. It's definitely not one of ours. The design is too advanced. Have they tried to communicate? As if answering her question, all the screens in the command center flickered. A series of musical tones filled the air, followed by a voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Jupiter Research Station. This is Ambassador Terrell of the Vulcan Diplomatic Corps. We come in peace and request permission to dock. The entire command center fell silent. Sujin's tablet slipped from her fingers, clattering on the floor. First contact. After all these years of searching, first contact had come to them. Captain Park recovered first. He straightened his uniform and cleared his throat. This is Captain Jaiho Park of the Jupiter Research Station. Permission granted, Ambassador. Please follow our guidance beacon to Docking Bay 3. The next 2 hours were a blur of activity. Security protocols were activated, Earth's governments were notified, and the station's crew scrambled to prepare for their visitors. Sujin found herself in charge of the welcome committee, mainly because she was the only one qualified to assess potential biological risks. As she waited by the airlock with her scanning equipment, Sujin couldn't help but pull out her tablet. How to make first contact without causing an interstellar incident, she muttered, typing into YouTube's search bar. The results weren't very helpful, mostly clips from science fiction movies and conspiracy theories. The airlock's warning lights began to flash, and Sujin quickly put away her tablet. The massive door slid open with a soft hiss, revealing 3 tall figures. Ambassador Terrell and his companions were nothing like what Sujin had expected. They were humanoid, yes, but their skin had a subtle, shifting iridescence that reminded her of soap bubbles. Their eyes were large and completely silver, with no visible pupils. They wore what looked like liquid metal suits that moved with them as if alive. Welcome to Jupiter Research Station, Sujin said, bowing slightly. She had watched enough first contact videos to know that a non-threatening gesture was important. Terrell tilted his head, the movement unnaturally smooth. Your greeting is accepted, Earth being. We have come to evaluate your species for potential membership in the Galactic Federation. Sujin's eyes widened. There was an actual Galactic Federation, just like in all those science fiction shows she'd watched. She made a mental note to update her "Aliens Are Real" playlist later. The tour of the station went surprisingly well. Terrell and his associates seemed interested in human technology, though they often exchanged looks that Sujin interpreted as either amusement or concern. Everything was fine until they reached her laboratory. And this is where I conduct my research on potential extraterrestrial life forms, Sujin explained, gesturing to her workstation. She quickly moved to close her browser, but she wasn't fast enough. "What is this YouTube we see on your screen?" Terrell asked, his silver eyes reflecting the monitor's light. "Oh, it's a platform where humans share videos about different topics," Sujin explained, feeling her cheeks warm. "I was watching some tutorials about spacecraft modifications. You modify your vessels based on amateur instructions shared freely on a public network." One of Terrell's companions asked, their voice carrying what sounded like horror. "Well, not exactly," Sujin started, but then she remembered something. "Although, there was this one time when our primary air filtration system had a problem, and I fixed it using a method I learned from a video about aquarium maintenance. The aliens took a collective step back. You altered your life support systems based on entertainment content." Terrell's voice had taken on a strange pitch. "It worked perfectly," Sujin said defensively. She pulled up the video to show them. "See, the principles are the same. The guy in the video used plastic bottles and activated carbon to make a filter for his fish tank, and I just scaled it up using materials from the maintenance bay. It kept us breathing for 3 days until the replacement parts arrived from Earth." The aliens watched the video in silence, their silver eyes growing impossibly wider. When the YouTuber started explaining how to make his own filter media using old socks and coffee grounds, Terrell made a sound that might have been a gasp. "And this is common among your species?" he asked carefully. "Oh yes," Sujin said enthusiastically, pulling up her playlist. "There are millions of videos like this. Look, here's one about how to boost communication signal strength using a kitchen strainer and some aluminum foil. And this one shows how to patch a pressure suit with materials from the medical bay. Oh, and this series about improvised rocket fuel alternatives is really fascinating." "I believe we have seen enough," Terrell interrupted, his iridescent skin shifting to a slightly paler shade. "We must consult with our superiors about your potential Federation membership." As the aliens hurried back to their ship, Sujin could hear them speaking in their own language. She didn't understand the words, but their tone reminded her of the time she'd shown her mother her improved kitchen appliances. Captain Park found her still standing in her lab, looking confused. "How did it go?" he asked. "I think," Sujin said slowly, "I think I just scared them with YouTube tutorials." Park laughed, but then his communicator beeped. The message was from Earth's government. The Vulcan ship had just accelerated out of the solar system at speeds their instruments could barely measure. They had left behind only a short message: "Evaluation postponed indefinitely. Reason: safety concerns." Sujin looked at her YouTube playlist, then at the empty space where the alien ship had been. "Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned the rocket fuel video," she muttered, before clicking on another tutorial titled "How to Build Your Own Subspace Antenna, Easy DIY Version." In her defense, it really was a very informative video, even if it did start with the words, "Trust me, I saw this in another video." The incident would have ended there, just another strange day at Jupiter Research Station, if it hadn't been for what happened next. As Sujin was updating her research logs that evening, she noticed something odd. Someone, or something, was accessing Earth's internet from a location far beyond Pluto's orbit. She smiled and added a new entry to her research notes: "Day 2847 of space observation. Confirmed that aliens are just as curious about YouTube tutorials as humans. Hypothesis: this could either be the beginning of beautiful cooperation or the start of an intergalactic ban on human DIY videos. Further observation needed." Then she went back to watching her video about subspace antennas. After all, you never knew when such knowledge might come in handy, especially now that she knew there were aliens out there who might need some creative human solutions to their problems. Captain Park, monitoring the station's communications that night, pretended not to notice the surge in data traffic heading toward deep space. He did, however, make a note to check Sujin's browser history the next day, just in case she'd shared anything about that time she'd improved the station's coffee maker using parts from a broken satellite. Some things, he decided, the galaxy might not be ready for yet. But then again, humans had always been good at surprising everyone, including themselves. As the station continued its orbit around Jupiter, billions of ones and zeros streamed out into space, carrying with them humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy, the art of improvisation, one YouTube tutorial at a time. 3 months after the first contact at Jupiter Research Station, engineer Kim Do-young found himself in an unexpected situation. He stood in the gleaming control room of the Vulcian diplomatic vessel Starlight Seeker, watching Chief Engineer Neri Lee argue with First Officer Kovacs about video games. "You don't understand," Neri said, holding up an old gaming controller she had brought from Earth. "This could actually work." Kovacs's iridescent skin flickered with what Do-young had learned was the Vulcian equivalent of frustration. "We cannot fix a quantum drive with a primitive entertainment device." The ship had been stuck in deep space for 6 hours. Their main engine had failed in a way that the Vulcians had never seen before. Do-young and Neri were only on board because Earth had insisted on sending technical advisors with the diplomatic mission. Now, they were the ship's best hope for getting home. "The quantum drive's control system is broken, not the drive itself," Neri explained. She pointed to her tablet, which showed a paused YouTube video. "Look, this person used a similar controller to bypass a failed system in their car. The principle is the same." Do-young stepped forward. "She's right. The controller has a perfect input system that could replace the damaged quantum interface. I saw something similar in a video about fixing old spacecraft." The other Vulcian engineers in the room stopped their work to stare at the humans. Ambassador Terrell, who had been quietly observing from the corner, moved closer. "You want to connect a gaming device to our most sophisticated piece of technology?" Terrell asked. His silver eyes reflected the emergency lights that flashed around them, based on another YouTube tutorial. "Trust me," Neri said with a smile. "I saw this on YouTube." Every Vulcian in the room took a step back, remembering the warning that had spread through the galaxy after the Jupiter Station incident. But they had no choice. The ship's emergency power was running low, and they were too far from any help. "Very well," Terrell said after a long pause. "But if we all die, I will personally ensure your species never joins the Galactic Federation." Neri grinned and pulled up another video on her tablet. "Do-young, remember that time we fixed the station's navigation computer with parts from an old music player?" "How could I forget?" Do-young laughed. "Captain Park still doesn't know about that." He turned to the Vulcian engineers. "We'll need some cables, a power converter, and does anyone have any tape?" The next 2 hours were the strangest of Do-young's career. He and Neri worked together, following a combination of 3 different YouTube tutorials. One was about modifying game controllers, another about spacecraft systems, and a third about building emergency backup controls for industrial machines. The Vulcians watched in horror as Neri took apart their beautiful quantum interface panel. Do-young connected colored wires that definitely weren't supposed to go together. They used something that looked like space duct tape to hold parts in place. "This goes against every engineering principle we know," Kovacs said, his skin now a pale shade of distress. "That's why it will work," Neri replied confidently. She was using the controller's rumble motors to create a feedback system. Human engineering isn't about following rules. It's about finding ways around them. Do-young nodded as he carefully connected the last wire. "In engineering school, they taught us all the rules, but on YouTube, they teach us how to break them properly." Finally, they were ready to test their creation. The ship's control room now had a gaming controller mounted on a makeshift stand. Neri had even added labels with Korean characters next to each button. "The X button starts the quantum drive," she explained to the horrified Vulcian crew. "The left stick controls power flow. The right stick handles quantum field alignment. The trigger buttons are for emergency shutdown." Terrell looked like he might faint, And you learned all this from watching videos about games and cars and computers, and that one video about fixing a washing machine. Du Young added helpfully. It's amazing how many things work on similar principles. Neri took her position at the controls. Everyone ready. 3, 2, 1. She pressed the X button. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the ship hummed to life. The quantum drive status indicators turned green one by one. On the main screen, power readings returned to normal levels. It's working, Du Young exclaimed. Neri, you're a genius. Neri moved the controller sticks carefully, fine-tuning the quantum field. The response is actually better than the original controls, she said with surprise. Look how smooth the power flow is. The Vulcans crowded around the displays, their silver eyes wide with disbelief. Kovacs ran diagnostic after diagnostic, but everything showed perfect operation. This is impossible, he whispered. You fixed a quantum drive with a gaming controller, using instructions from entertainment videos. Not impossible, Neri corrected him. Just human. The journey back to the nearest space station was interesting. Neri had to teach the Vulcan crew how to use the controller, which led to some amusing moments. Kovacs turned out to be surprisingly good at it, though he denied enjoying the experience. Word of their repair spread quickly through the galaxy. Soon, stories were being told in every spaceport about the humans who fixed a quantum drive with a game controller. Some aliens laughed, others were terrified, but everyone had to admit it worked. Du Young and Neri became minor celebrities in the engineering community. They were invited to give talks about alternative engineering solutions at various space stations. The Vulcans, despite their initial horror, started a secret research project to study human repair methods. Back on the Jupiter research station, Dr. Sujin was delighted to hear about the incident. She added it to her growing collection of humans teaching aliens about YouTube stories. Captain Park just sighed and made sure to hide the station's supply of gaming controllers. That evening, as Du Young and Neri sat in their quarters on the Vulcan ship, they noticed something interesting on their tablets. The number of aliens watching human engineering tutorials had increased by 300% in the past day. Should we tell them about the video where someone fixed a satellite with a paperclip and chewing gum? Neri asked with a mischievous smile. Du Young laughed. Let's wait until they recover from the controller incident. Some things the galaxy isn't ready for yet. As they drifted through space, Neri's gaming controller continued to control the quantum drive perfectly. She had even added a feature where the controller vibrated if the quantum field needed adjustment. Kovacs pretended to hate it, but the humans caught him practicing with a spare controller in his quarters late at night. The incident would have been just another strange story in the growing collection of human engineering adventures, if it hadn't been for what happened next. A week later, the Galactic Federation's Engineering Council received an unusual request, a proposal to study human emergency repair techniques and something called life hacks. The proposal was approved, though with a special note. Warning: implementation of human repair methods may cause severe anxiety in non-human engineers. Proceed with caution. Du Young pinned this notice on his wall back at Jupiter Station. Under it, he wrote his own addition. But it works every time. The galaxy would never be the same, and somewhere in deep space, a Vulcan engineer was secretly watching a video titled 100 Amazing Gaming Controller Hacks You Never Knew About. Dr. Han Tawan never expected to become famous across the galaxy. He was just a regular innovation specialist at the Jupiter Research Station who enjoyed making tutorial videos in his spare time. But after the quantum drive incident, everything changed. The Galactic Federation had called an emergency meeting to discuss the growing influence of human life hacks on alien civilizations. They chose Tawan as Earth's representative because his YouTube channel, Space Hacks with Dr. Han, had become surprisingly popular among alien viewers. Professor Song Mi-Ray, an expert in human-alien relations, accompanied him to the meeting. As they walked into the Federation's Grand Assembly Hall, Mireille whispered to Tawan. Remember, try not to mention any of your more creative videos. The assembly hall was filled with representatives from 50 different alien species. Some floated in anti-gravity pods, others sat in specially designed chairs, and a few existed as pure energy forms contained in crystal spheres. Council leader Orthak, a tall being with crystalline skin, called the meeting to order. We are here to address the spreading phenomenon of human life hacks across the galaxy. Dr. Han, please explain why your species insists on sharing these dangerous methods. Tawan stood up, adjusting his glasses nervously. Honorable Council, humans share knowledge because we believe everyone should have access to solutions. Sometimes the best solutions are not the most obvious ones. He pulled out his tablet and opened a presentation. For example, last week, the Zentari mining colony reached out to me about their failing atmosphere processors. We fixed them using a method from my video about cleaning air conditioners with common household items. Several alien representatives gasped. One of them, a blue-skinned being, spoke up. You modified vital life support equipment based on a cleaning tutorial. Yes, Tawan said proudly. The basic principles are the same. We also helped the Proxima research team repair their quantum computers using a method I learned from a video about fixing old gaming consoles. Mireille watched as the alien representatives exchanged worried looks. She knew that humans' ability to see connections between seemingly unrelated things both fascinated and terrified other species. A holographic being flickered to life in the center of the hall. But what about safety? Last month, someone tried to modify a starship's warp core after watching a video about upgrading computer processors. Did it work? Tawan asked with genuine curiosity. Yes, the hologram admitted reluctantly. The ship now travels 30% faster. But that's not the point. Mireille stepped forward to help explain. Our species has always learned through trial and error. We share our successes so others can benefit from them. Yes, sometimes our methods seem strange, but they come from understanding basic principles and applying them creatively. She displayed some statistics on the main screen. Since humans started sharing their solutions, emergency repairs across the galaxy have become 45% faster. Resource usage has dropped by 30%. Even the Vulcians now have a secret database of human repair tutorials. The Vulcian representative's skin turned a deep shade of embarrassment. Those are classified documents. The point is, Tawan continued, these life hacks work because they help people think differently about problems. Take the Andromeda Science Station. They were having trouble with their artificial gravity system. We fixed it using principles from a video about balancing washing machines. A small, fuzzy alien raised what might have been a hand. But why do humans always say, trust me? I saw this on YouTube before doing something alarming. Tawan laughed. It's our way of saying we've seen proof that something works. Though I admit, sometimes we get a bit too excited about trying new solutions. As if to prove his point, his tablet chimed with a new message. The Centauri border station had just successfully repaired their defense shields using a method from a video titled 10 Amazing Things You Can Do with Old Satellite Dishes. The council members watched in a mixture of horror and fascination as more success stories poured in. The Orion Trading Post had fixed their translation matrix using tips from a video about repairing old phones. The Pleiades Research Center had solved their energy crisis using ideas from a video about home power-saving tricks. Perhaps, Council Leader Orthak said slowly, we have been too quick to dismiss human methods. Though they are unusual, the results are undeniable. Mireille smiled. That's why we've prepared a special program. We're calling it Human Innovation Integration. It will help alien engineers understand when and how to safely apply human solutions. Tawan nodded enthusiastically. We've already made tutorial videos specifically for alien engineering teams. The first one is called Understanding Human Life Hacks, a beginner's guide to creative problem solving. The assembly hall erupted in discussion. Some representatives were excited about the potential benefits, while others worried about the implications of spreading such knowledge. In the end, the council reached a compromise. Human repair methods would be officially recognized, but with a warning system. Any solution beginning with "Trust me, I saw this on YouTube" would need special approval from safety committees. As Taiwan and Myray left the meeting, they noticed something interesting. The alien representatives were secretly watching human tutorial videos on their devices. Even Council Leader Earthak was carefully studying a video titled "Easy Fixes for Crystal-Based Life Forms." Back at Jupiter Station, Dr. Su Jin was delighted to add another chapter to her research on human-alien cultural exchange. She titled it, "The Great Tutorial Revolution: How YouTube Changed Galactic Engineering." Captain Park just shook his head when he read the report. "At least nobody has shown them the video about upgrading coffee makers yet," he muttered. But he was wrong. That evening, in a secret laboratory deep within the Volchian Science Academy, a group of engineers huddled around a screen. They watched with great interest as a human explained how to turn a simple coffee maker into a highly efficient molecular synthesizer. Perhaps, one Volchian whispered, "These humans are not as primitive as we thought." The influence of human innovation continued to spread across the galaxy. New phrases entered the Galactic Dictionary: life hack, DIY solution, and the ever-popular quick fix. Some alien species even started their own tutorial channels, though they always included lengthy safety disclaimers. Taiwan's YouTube channel reached 1 billion alien subscribers. His most popular video, "Universal Repair Methods That Work Anywhere in the Galaxy," became required viewing at the Galactic Engineering Academy. Mireille wrote a best-selling book titled "Understanding Human Innovation: A Guide for Non-Human Species." The chapter about why humans believe anything can be fixed with duct tape and determination became particularly famous. The galaxy would never be the same, and somewhere in deep space, a group of alien engineers gathered around a broken piece of advanced technology, looked at each other nervously, and whispered the words that would change everything. "Trust me, I saw this on YouTube." 1 year after the Galactic Federation's emergency meeting about human life hacks, Ambassador Park Yum-ho stood before the Federation Council again. This time, he was there to address what many alien species called the YouTube crisis. The Grand Council chamber looked different now. Many representatives had modified their seats using human-inspired improvements. Some had even installed cup holders, a concept that had fascinated alien species since they discovered human vehicle design videos. Council Leader Earthak, his crystal skin gleaming under the chamber's lights, called the session to order. "Ambassador Park, please explain why humans continue to share potentially dangerous knowledge across the galaxy." Yun-ho straightened his formal diplomatic uniform. Next to him, Director Choi Jin-woo from Earth's YouTube archives prepared their presentation. They had spent weeks preparing for this moment. "Honorable Council," Yun-ho began, "sharing knowledge is fundamental to human nature. We believe that good ideas should be available to everyone." Jin-woo displayed their first chart on the giant holographic screen. It showed the dramatic increase in successful emergency repairs across the galaxy since humans started sharing their methods. "As you can see," Jin-woo explained, "efficiency has improved by 200% in the past year alone. The Andromeda sector has reported a 75% decrease in repair costs since implementing human repair techniques." A representative from the Proxima Centauri system raised an appendage. "But what about the incident with the quantum toaster?" Yun-ho tried not to smile. Everyone had heard about that incident. Someone had combined a regular toaster with quantum technology after watching a video about upgrading kitchen appliances. The resulting device could toast bread in multiple dimensions simultaneously. "Innovation always carries some risk," Yun-ho admitted. "But consider the benefits. That same quantum toaster design led to breakthroughs in food replication technology." Jin-woo nodded and changed the display. "We've established the Earth YouTube Safety Commission to review and classify tutorials based on their potential risk level. We're also creating special guides for different alien species." The chamber buzzed with discussion. Some representatives were clearly impressed by the humans' organization. Others still looked worried, especially those who had experienced unexpected results from human life hacks. A holographic being flickered to life. What about the universal warning phrase? Every time someone says, "Trust me, I saw this on YouTube," chaos follows. That's why we've created a new classification system, Jinmu explained. He displayed a simple chart showing different levels of human solutions, from basic life hacks to advanced engineering modifications. Yunho stepped forward again. We propose making this system official across the Federation. Each tutorial will be rated based on complexity and potential risk. This way, everyone can benefit from human innovation while maintaining safety standards. The council members discussed among themselves. Even the most skeptical aliens had to admit that human methods, while unusual, had solved many previously impossible problems. Orthak raised his crystalline hand for silence. Perhaps we have been too rigid in our thinking. The galaxy has changed since humans joined the galactic community. Their creative approaches have proven valuable, despite their unconventional nature. As if to prove his point, a message appeared on the main screen. The Orion Defense Fleet had just prevented a major disaster by using a method from a video titled 10 Amazing Ways to Fix Anything with Household Items. Yunho smiled. This is exactly what we mean. Humans don't just solve problems. We share our solutions so others can solve similar problems. Yes, sometimes our methods seem strange, but they work. Jinwu displayed their final presentation slide. It showed thousands of successful repairs and improvements across the galaxy, all inspired by human tutorials. We're not asking you to change your ways, Yunho continued. We're offering to share our knowledge, to help make the galaxy a more efficient place, one life hack at a time. The council chambers fell silent as Orthak considered their words. Finally, he spoke. The Federation accepts your proposal. The human tutorial classification system will become official policy. However, he added with what might have been a smile, we request that all future tutorials include proper safety warnings. The meeting ended on a positive note. As delegates left the chamber, many were already watching human tutorial videos on their devices. Some were even making notes about improvements they could try. Back on Earth, Dr. Su-Jin received the news with excitement. She immediately started working on a new video series, Understanding Human Innovation, a guide for alien species. Captain Park, now promoted to Admiral, just shook his head when he heard about the Council's decision. But even he had to admit that the station ran more smoothly since they started applying human life hacks. In his private quarters, he took out his tablet and watched a video about improving space station efficiency. Just for research purposes, he told himself, though the smile on his face suggested otherwise. The story spread quickly across the galaxy. Humans became known as the species that could fix anything with creative solutions and determination. Their motto, "Trust me, I saw this on YouTube," became both a warning and a promise of innovation. Even the Vulcans, who had once followed from human YouTube tutorials, now had their own channel. Their most popular video was titled, Traditional Vulcan Engineering Meets Human Life Hacks, a Cautious Guide. Years later, when new species joined the Federation, they received a special welcome package. It included standard diplomatic documents, star charts, and a carefully curated collection of human tutorials rated for safety and effectiveness. The package also contained a small warning card that read, "When a human says, 'Trust me, I saw this on YouTube,' prepare for either brilliant innovation or creative chaos, often both." Jinwu kept this card framed in his office at the YouTube archives. Under it, he added his own note. Sometimes the craziest solutions work the best. Just remember to wear safety goggles. The galaxy had changed forever. Human creativity had transformed how every species approached problems. And somewhere in deep space, a group of alien engineers gathered around a broken quantum computer, pulled up a human tutorial video, and said those famous words, "Trust me, I saw this on YouTube." This time, Nobody ran away. Instead, they gathered closer, ready to learn another creative human solution. After all, that's how progress happens, one crazy idea at a time. Admiral Park, watching all this from Jupiter Station, finally admitted what everyone already knew. Humans might be crazy, but their solutions worked. He celebrated this realization by upgrading the station's coffee maker, using a method he'd seen in a video. The coffee had never tasted better, even if it did occasionally phase through dimensions. And so, the legacy of human YouTube tutorials became a permanent part of galactic culture. The phrase, "Trust me, I saw this on YouTube," was officially recorded in the Federation archives as warning level yellow. Approach with curiosity and caution. Results may exceed expectations. It was, everyone agreed, a perfectly human definition.